In this episode of the Shipping Notes, we look at container shipping alliances around the world. Container shipping alliances have their roots in the Seven Sisters, the seven large oil companies after the end of World War II. Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, Gulf, Texaco, British Petroleum, and Royal Dutch Shell controlled most of the world's oil drilling, refining, distribution, transportation throughout the globe. Their tanker fleets made up over 50% of the world's tankers. With the rise of OPEC in the 1970s and a series of very high visibility accidents with the companies' names attached to them, the oil companies divested themselves of their tanker fleet. But today, 9 new sisters have risen up to take their place, this time in the field of containers. America's largest container port is that of Los Angeles. The port is serviced by all 3 major alliances: the 2M Alliance, the Alliance, and the Ocean Alliance. And even though some independent companies provide service to the port of Los Angeles, such as Zim and One High, other companies are identified as independent but actually belong to some of these alliances. In truth, 9 shipping companies that make up the world alliances control most of the containers coming in and out of the port of Los Angeles, America's biggest seaport. In the past, shipping was dominated by entities known as conferences, where shipping lines would pool together their resources, control key routes, keep companies out of those routes, and control the prices. But through legislation in the United States, starting with the Shipping Act of 1916, conferences were outlawed within the United States. In 1984, the U.S. Shipping Act repealed those prohibits. And in 1998, the Ocean Reform Act further opened the way for the creation of new alliances. In the European Union, regulations allowed the creation of these alliances. And since 1996, shipping alliances have gone through 4 major iterations. In 1996, the first generation, the Global Alliance, made up of APL, Mitsubishi Overseas Line, Ned Lloyd, OOCL, MISC, formed the Global Alliance. The Grand Alliance, Hapag-Lloyd, NYK Line, Neptune Orient Line, and P&OCL formed the Grand Alliance, along with Maersk and Sealand forming the third element. Those alliances initially were made up of some of the smaller companies in service at that time. The second generation aimed to bring together the mid-size and smaller carriers and really aimed to create stability in the industry, with the creation of the New World Alliance, Grand Alliance 2, and the very difficultly named CYKH, made up of COSCO, Yangmin, the K-Line, and Hanjin. This system remained in place until 2012. In 2012, we see a transition where the larger carriers become part of these alliances. And these carriers' involvement create instability among the smaller alliances. This also coincides with the introduction of larger container ships, with the introduction in 2006 of the Maersk E-Class, and then in 2013, the Maersk Triple E-Class, the first of the ultra-large container ships. By 2012, the G6 Alliance, the CYKHE Conference, with the addition of Evergreen, the 2M Alliance, made up of MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company, and Maersk Lines, and the Ocean 3, with the CMA, CGM, China Shipping, and USAC all together. This gave way to the last iteration of the container conference system, the 4th generation, with the creation of 3 large alliances: the Alliance, ONE, which is a conglomeration of the major Japanese shipping lines, MOL, K-Line, and NYK Line; Yangmin of Taiwan; HMM, formerly Hyundai Merchant Marine; Hapag-Lloyd of Germany; the Ocean Alliance, CMA, CGM, a French company; COSCO and the recently acquired OOCL, China and Hong Kong; Evergreen, Taiwan; and then the 2M Alliance, made up of Mediterranean Shipping Company, a Swiss-Italian firm, and Maersk Lines, Danish, along with their recent acquisition, Hamburg Sud. Since the creation of the modern alliance system in 2015, we've seen the growth of the three alliances across 9 companies. Back in 2005, the top 10 companies controlled 50% of the world's container trade. Today, the top 9 companies across 3 alliances control nearly 85% of that global trade. As of December 2021, the 2M Alliance, Maersk and MSC, are the largest of the 3 alliances, with controlling 33.8% of the container share, nearly 8.5 million TEU, with Mediterranean shipping poised to eclipse Maersk with a large shipbuilding program in construction and acquiring of secondhand ships. The Ocean Alliance is in second place. Their 3 companies, COSCO OCL, CMA, CGM, and Evergreen, control 30.1% of the world's container trade, 7.6 million containers. And the third of the alliances, the Alliance, HMM, Hapag-Lloyd, ONE, and Yang Min, are the smallest of the 3, with 4.8 million containers, controlling 19.1%. These 9 companies control 83% of the available container space afloat today, 20.9 million TEUs out of 25.3 million. The closest American line to the top 9 is that of Matson in 26th place, with a capability to carry 63,000 containers, 0.3%. In 2017, McKinsey and Company wrote this in a study of container alliances. Is consolidation good for shippers? It does have some clear benefits. Larger lines offer more extensive services. They can and do invest more in technology. They achieve economies of scale and higher levels of efficiency, which can be passed on to shippers in the form of lower pricing. Consolidation also creates a more stable industry with less wild rate swings and greater predictability. The risk is that it will go so far that shipping lines can exert market power, constrain supply, and raise prices. But in our view, the industry is currently a long way from there, and regulators will be watching closely to protect competition. The shifting alliances have had little impact on shippers, but the effects, if any, have been negative. Operational complexity and commoditized products and services. Meanwhile, consolidation will probably continue. Shippers should cautiously welcome the stability it brings. COVID-19 has upended the container shipping industry. The recent passage in the House of Representatives of a new Ocean Reform Act aims to bring regulation back to this trade. The future of the container alliances are in question going forward, but there is no doubt that they will provide a major service in the transportation of goods around the world going forward.